I'm Commissioner Stebbins with the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission. This video is part of our social consumption educational series, focused on how social consumption is regulated to protect public health, public safety, and consumers. First of all, we need to define what is a social consumption establishment. This is a licensed marijuana establishment where consumers can purchase and safely consume marijuana and marijuana products. A critical element in developing this regulatory framework was extensive outreach and policy development. Key members of the working group participated in training sessions, drug recognition expert training, as well as a tip certification training. The Commission held 3 listening sessions, 2 in person at both Holyoke Community College and Mass Bay Community College, and a virtual listening session back in July of 2023. We have also had extensive outreach to other regulators across the country: California, Colorado, Illinois, Michigan, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, and Nevada, all giving us critical insights as to how social consumption rolled out in each of their jurisdictions. We also worked very closely in local outreach. We surveyed potential applicants as to what they would like to see in a regulatory framework. And we even visited existing indoor smoking establishments for more critical information and review of procedures. Stakeholder outreach remained a strong focus of the Commission's regulatory working group. Outreach and policy development. This list is just meant to give all of you a little insight into the number of organizations, entities, stakeholders, and municipalities that the working group reached out to with respect to drafting a regulatory framework for social consumption. We wish we could name every entity that we reached out to, but hopefully this list gives you a good sense of agencies, organizations, licensees, and stakeholders that we reached out to help advise and give input into the draft framework. On-site social consumption license classes. Our regulations propose 3 types of licenses. Supplemental. This is for an existing qualifying marijuana establishment who is already licensed by the Commission that wants to create on-site attached consumption space. The second type of license is our hospitality license. We're excited for this license type because we don't feel it has necessarily been modeled by other jurisdictions and will allow consumption to take place in an existing non-cannabis commercial business space. So think of a lounge, a cafe, an entertainment or recreational space, or a yoga studio that chooses to offer cannabis and cannabis products as part of their engagement in business activity. The third license type is our event organizer, allowing an entity who qualifies to organize and host temporary consumption events. These can be both indoor or outdoor and must follow a strict permitting process that will be required through each municipality where an event is held. Events can be no more than 30 days per municipality per year. Social consumption establishment licenses are subject to an exclusive 30-year period for our social equity businesses, social equity program participants, economic empowerment applicants, micro-businesses, and craft marijuana cooperative licensees. To delve into our supplemental license type a little bit more, again, these are for existing cultivators, product manufacturers, retailers, micro-businesses, craft cooperative grower licensees, or delivery operators. They can host social consumption activities within their existing facility or adjoining space. Consumption of a product is only allowed for those products purchased on site. Any existing licensee will have to have a new host community agreement with their host municipality, and local permitting and approval process is required. The hospitality license type is a license for a qualified social consumption business to operate within a new or existing commercial business space. It can be a standalone consumption lounge, or it can partner with an existing non-cannabis business to host consumption activity. Some examples may include a comedy club, a yoga studio, theater, lodging venues, or a performance venue. There is an unlimited number of events that can be approved for each location. Consumption, again, must be of a product purchased on site. A host community agreement will also be required, as well as compliance with a local permitting and approval process. The event organizer license type. The Commission viewed this license type as a low startup cost opportunity. Someone may store cannabis at their principal place of business and purchase wholesale for retail at a contemporary consumption event. Only ME licensees authorized to sell directly to consumers may sell products at a temporary consumption event. Other vendors can have booths but cannot sell marijuana or marijuana products. An HCA is only required at that licensee's principal place of business. A local permitting and approval process is required, and events are no more than 30 days per municipality per year. There are 4 types of cannabis consumption areas available. An indoor smoking consumption area. This is an enclosed space where consumers may consume marijuana or marijuana products through combustion, heat, vaporization, or aerosolization, in addition to edibles, marijuana-infused products, and beverages. A secure non-smoking viewing area for employees must be required. Ventilation system standards are included in our regulations, and there must be no smoking in view of the public. You could also have an outdoor smoking consumption area, an outdoor space where consumers may consume marijuana or marijuana products. Again, there should be no smoking in public view. There needs to be a free flow of outside air. Regulations have further defined barriers for outdoor consumption spaces. A licensee may also choose to offer an indoor non-smoking consumption area. Again, an enclosed space where consumers may consume marijuana or marijuana beverages through methods other than combustion, heat, vaporization, or aerosolization. An example might be a paint and sip night inside a facility. Outdoor non-smoking consumption area. Outdoor space where consumers may consume marijuana or marijuana products in the form of edibles, marijuana-infused products, and beverages through methods other than combustion, heat, vaporization, or aerosolization. There needs to be a free flow of outside air. Regulations have further defined barriers for outdoor consumption spaces. A municipality may choose to allow all 4 types of consumption areas or just one with respect to their local bylaws or ordinances. What our regulations require? First of all, with respect to public health and safety, there shall be no intersection of alcohol or tobacco and tobacco products within licensed spaces or premises. ID checks will continue to be required to confirm attendees are ages 21 and over, required prior to entry. And no cannabis products shall be brought into a social consumption establishment. Personal products will either need to be disposed of or a customer must leave the premises. With respect to employee safety, licensed establishments will need to provide PPE. An employee has the right to be shifted to other job responsibilities at their request. Licensees are also required to provide employees with a smoke-free observation area to monitor a consumption area. All agents working at a social consumption establishment will be required to go through a special responsible vendor training program, which has a focus on drug and alcohol impairment recognition. With respect to air quality, our regulations will dictate our air handling system requirements, and that is dependent on a licensee's consumption activities. Alternative ventilation or filtration plans are allowed if they are stamped by a licensed engineer and meet equivalent performance standards to allow for development of new technology in this space. Additional measures in our regulatory framework focus on patron and public safety. There will be last call requirements. Cut off 30 minutes before the latest authorized sales time. Transportation strategies will be required for every licensee with input from the local public safety officials. These plans will be required for all licensees to help assist impaired customers. Social consumption establishments retain flexibility to incorporate non-consumption areas or other supportive measures to assist consumers experiencing unwanted effects. Consumers may also take unused product home in an opaque, child-resistant sealed exit bag to help avoid overconsumption on site. There's limited research, but research that does show food consumption can slow the onset of THC. Food services will be required at all licensed marijuana establishments. establishments that offer social consumption. Food and any infused cannabis products must be served to the consumer separately. Local boards of public health and the Department of Public Health will maintain oversight of any non-infused food area. Additional food service training will be required for employees at establishments where food is prepared on site. Options also include delivery services or partnerships with existing and possibly adjacent restaurants or food establishments. Licensees must sell shelf-stable, prepackaged food items. Before social consumption will be allowed to be enjoyed by consumers, there are many internal and external implementation steps that need to be taken. The internal implementation is required by the CCC. Examples of our work include developing guidance materials, updating applications, creating a responsible vendor training curriculum and training program. You can see additional examples of internal implementation steps that the CCC will have to undertake in the months ahead. For external implementation, municipalities seeking to host a social consumption establishment will have to decide how they plan to opt in by ordinance, bylaw, or petition. Any possible revisions to their zoning codes and HCA, and they need to decide for themselves what type of consumption they will allow. Licensees are encouraged to think through the regulations and how it may impact their business. They'll need to seek out partnerships, access capital, and we encourage all licensees to begin to have conversations with their host community. RVT trainers will also need to create their course based on our curriculum requirements and secure an RVT license to make these trainings available. Additional work is needed by our outside vendors to update our information data systems, including Mass EIP and Metric. An important question is, how can municipalities prepare for social consumption? First of all, communities will need to decide if they wish to allow social consumption licenses and whether they choose to do that by an ordinance or bylaw change or to create a local voter initiative petition. They'll also need to consider revisions to their zoning codes. They may also need to amend their host community agreements to include social consumption establishments. They can also take steps to create awareness of the new license types, create a local permitting process for these new businesses, and adjust any of their municipal equity strategies and materials to include this new license type. Communities seeking to revise their zoning codes should make sure that they send any updated information to the CCC so that we can maintain an accurate, timely municipal zoning tracker. Members of the community may also initiate their own local voter initiative petition to be included on a local municipal ballot. For more information, visit masscannabiscontrol.com. That's MASS cannabiscontrol.com.